Disclaimer: the aircraft is in public beta. I'm not affiliated with Flight Factor and purchased the aircraft with my own money. All opinions are my own. With all that said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. Hello and welcome back to X-Plane 12. We are looking at the highly anticipated Flight Factor 777-200ER version 2. 10 years in the making. Let's see if it's worth the wait. Firstly, let's talk about price. This aircraft is available on the X-Plane org store for $89 US. Converted into pounds, I only paid £68. That price gets you the 777-200ER. Flight Factor haven't mentioned anything about other variants or a pricing scheme for them as of yet. As a reminder, I paid full price and this aircraft is still in beta. I think the price, in my opinion, is a bit steep. However, with all the added extras that are included, we'll get to those a bit later on. I think the aircraft is not priced too bad for what you are getting. So let's have a look at what you're getting for your money. Starting off with the modelling, texturing and exterior and interior of the aircraft. As you can see, Flight Factor have done a really nice job with the weathering, little bits and pieces like nose gear, with the steering pins, nicely textured and really high res. And in front of the aircraft, this is a default livery that you get included with the Flight Factor 777. This is the British Airways one, of course. You can see every individual rivet holding the panels and every individual panel. It's also weathered really nicely as well. It looks like a used aeroplane, as you can see from the exterior. You can see into the cabin as well, and we'll have a look in there shortly. Like I said, you can see all the dirt marks around the windows and around the doors where jet bridges and catering trucks would have been approaching. And you can see some grime marks and general wear and tear as well. Now moving on to the General Electric GE90 engines. They've modelled these really nicely as well. As you can see, the fan blades have a very smooth animation and the modelling and ratio of the engine is correct. Like I said, this is a default livery and it is textured really nicely. It's really nice to see how the engine doesn't, the fan blades don't lag. There's the behind the engine weathered quite nicely as well. It just looks like a used aeroplane. Now we're looking at the main bogie landing gear. Of course, massive on the 777. This does include the steering, rear axle steering as well. That's on all 777 variants. This is included in the Flight Factor 777 as well. They're modelled really nicely with all the correct hydraulic lines going to each individual system. Now looking at the wing, it's textured very nicely with some general wear and tear on as well. Oh, let's just jump back outside. As you can see, the wing is the correct proportion as well. A lot of criticism I've had about Flight Factor and their aircraft in recent years is that the ratio and the sort of size and dimensions of the aircraft haven't been correct, but this is a true representation of the 777-200ER. I'm going to extend the flaps now and we'll have a look at the animation of them extending and coming back in, and it does look really nice as well. And just as you look around the wing and flap area, you can see some more grime and dirt from the day-to-day use of the aircraft. And that's what I like about these, the way they've done it, is it doesn't look like it's just come out of the factory. These aeroplanes are quite old, 777-200ERs, and it looks lived in and used. And this is them coming back in to the zero position. As you can see under the wing as well, we have the mechanism is completely modelled that pulls the flaps in and out. And I can tell you now from flying this for a couple of days, nothing has been left from Flight Factor. It's all been meticulously detailed in every area. And here is the rear of the aircraft. The tail is all the correct proportion as well. It does look like a 777. They had a bit of a backlash at the start of the 777 development cycle where the front of the aircraft was off slightly, and and they fixed that as well. And there's just some hydraulic action of the rudder and the aileron. And here's the APU, and as you can see, they've modelled it really nicely with all individual rivets. You can see it's brilliant. So let's jump into the cabin. They have detailed the cabin really nicely as well. Um, in my opinion, I'm not too bothered about the cabin as long as the aircraft's okay and the systems are really good. But Flight Factory have gone above and beyond and modelled the complete interior, including toilet, first class, a business class, and an economy. There is a couple of different layouts you can choose from in the EFB that we'll get to shortly as well. This is X-Plane, so you've got to remember there are some limitations, and it does look really nice. I've done some long haul flights in this aircraft, and it's been brilliant, especially with the cabin. All the toilets are available to open, and they have a fully modelled interior. All the lavatories do. All the galleys look like they are real galleys from real aircraft, including safety equipment and the catering. As we go back into the business class area, I think it's set to the Emirates one at the moment, and then we go back into economy. So we've got a large economy section on this aircraft today, and it's done really nicely. Again, all the texturing, modelling, and detail has been done really nice and to the highest quality possible, and they have really gone above and beyond with everything they've done here today. This is in beta. Again, I'm going to keep repeating that, but it's very close to being the final product, and that's why I'm showing it you now. This toilet's not operable, as you can see, it's closed. And then if we get to the rear galley, which is the biggest galley on the aircraft, we've got sort of torches and the lighting for the cabin crew as well. Each jump seat is modelled. That toilet's not operable either. The doors have all the correct arming and disarming levers, and there's another toilet and lavatory you can open. It's really, really well done. There's a baby changing drop-down table. And here are the economy class seats as well, and then there's a bit of space there. And here's the economy class seat. It comes with a TV, and they've even added a literature pocket with some literature in as well. And now we're in the flight deck, the most important part of the aircraft. They've modelled this really well. It is a true representation of the 777. It's got everything you'll need, and it's textured very nicely. It has a lot of general wear and tear as well. Um, I mean, like I said, it is X-Plane, so it does have some limitations, and of course, it's not going to look as good as Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it is possibly the best looking flight deck in X-Plane at the moment. It's really nice. So as we jump into the captain's seat, let's just zoom in a little bit and look at the texturing quality on the forward-facing bit of the panel here. You can see it's textured really nicely. It has depth and some wear and tear. All the screens look really nice, crisp and HD. There's no problem. I haven't had a problem yet with they look blurry. I've had that quite a few times with aircraft in X-Plane 12. Everything's modelled HD. Really nice. Here's the centre pedestal, which looks really nice as well. We'll get on to bits and bobs of the flight deck in a minute. This is just a general overview of the textures and everything as the lighting changes. And here's the overhead panel as well. It's really, really nice. It just looks nice for X-Plane as well. Here is an overview of the night lighting as well. Now you will notice some graphical glitches in a second. Those are just because I've changed the time of day in the menu. You would need a restart or to let it do it naturally, but this is just a quick look at all the lighting, the night lighting of course. It's really nice. Let's get some lights on in the flight deck as well. So you will notice in the flight deck some of the switches are a bit dark. That's just because I've changed it in the menu. Like I said, I didn't let the light go naturally, but we do have very nice lighting in here, and it is really, really nice. It doesn't affect performance as well. The performance in this aircraft is really nice. As you can see, that button up there's messed up a bit, but that's just my fault. Now for the ground handling. It comes with a full suite of ground handling. As you can see, we've got some stairs. The bags are being loaded, fuel, the catering at the rear of the aircraft, and it comes with a really cool, as you can see, they fall from the sky though, they don't drive up, but as you can see, there's a really cool animation. I've clicked for the wheels to be changed, and you can see all the wheels are being taken off and put back on, and it's really cool. As you can hear that dinging, you have to call for the ground handling via the FMC in the center panel, or there is a little bit on the EFB for it. I usually use the center panel FMC just because you have to call them to start the process. There's a full suite of ground handling. To use it though, you need to click into a menu and then say hello to the ground handling. And then if you want the doors open, you need to ask the crew to open them for you, which is really nice. They are just AI voices though, they're not actually voiced by anyone. They're just the typical text to speech voices. But they are nice. As you can see, though, underneath the aircraft, they are changing the wheels, and the little hatch just in front of the nose cone is open as we're having some maintenance done. All the panels do open, and it looks really nice. But like I said, they do fall from the sky, so you have to wait a minute, and then they just sort of fall from the sky and land where they're supposed to be. But it doesn't matter. They're still really good. And as you can see, all the men are animated as well. Let's jump into the flight deck and have a look at the EFB quickly. We've got airplane ground services. Here we go. This is a little bit here. I've clicked off the actual screen, so it's just airplane and then ground services, and here we are. And this is the menu, so we've got everything else here as well. So if we go into the middle console, you have to click on the call button like that and click it in so you can speak to them, and then you go down to ground handling and it's all there.
Listening.
There you go. It's as simple as that. It's quite nice when you get used to it, but it is a really nifty feature. So, welcome back. We are now in the flight deck. Let's talk about system depth. The systems on this aircraft are unbelievable. They've gone above and beyond again to make sure that everything has been modelled and correctly simulated. On their store page, it does say that it has 1,000 simulated failures that you can use. These can be programmed, or if you're feeling a bit adventurous, you could have these set randomly throughout your flights. All the circuit breakers do work, and they do turn off the adjacent system as well. We're sitting on the ground here at Heathrow, 27 left. We're going to be doing a little circuit, testing out the flight model and some systems as well. The FMC, it has full VNAV and LNAV capability. It has an interactive checklist that talks back to you.
After takeoff, the checklist.
Try now.
Landing
there you
gear.
go. So it's a bit messed up because we're doing it with the engine started. Now there will be a couple of bugs because this has been set up on the ground. I haven't set up a full flight or done anything in the flight. I've just set up a random
checklist
departure and arrival at Heathrow. As you can hear, it's talking in the background.
Landing gear.
And we can clear that. And if we go over here, this is the interactive map as well. So this map is the airport map. I think it's got every airport in the world in. Every airport I've landed at, it's done. And it shows you what the taxiway. It's really good for Aviation-SIM, whatever online provider you're using. It's got all the taxiways and stands, and it zooms out. It's really nice actually. So let's release the parking brake and get flying. And toga. So we're not going to be taking this too seriously. I just wanted to show you the flight model, if it handles any good. Some of the sounds as well. Listen to those engines as they roar. And we'll keep it nice and central. We're on real weather as well. So 80 knots, neutral. Getting close to V1. And the ground handling is really nice as well. It's nice to keep central. There's V1. And rotate through the dead band. Off we go. Positive rate gear up. And let's have some wing views. So we're vertical speed, 2,000 feet per minute, that looks okay. 240 knots. Flaps 1. And we'll go autopilot. Shortly, let me just make sure that the heading is centered. We'll go 171. Whack the autopilot in. We'll keep it like that. Flaps up. And we'll turn 180. So it's true earth as well we're using. And it handled quite nicely on that departure. It's fly-by-wire, the 777, so it's quite responsive actually. And there's the ghost throttles. You can turn those off, but it's just quite nice to know where your throttles are, to where the autopilot wants them.
Flight checklist, please. Before start, checklist, please.
Checklist. So
MCP.
Reset it to show you guys what it's like.
Completed. Trim,
after
taxi
departure.
and takeoff briefing. Completed. Checklist complete. After takeoff checklist, please. Checklist complete.
There you go. So checklist has been complete. So it do it automatically. Like I said, there's a couple of errors just because we're trying to do it set up like we did. If we had set it up properly from stand and gone through all the checklists individually, it would have worked perfectly. I've done a couple of flights in it now and it works fine. Set the order brake to 3. And we'll go flat 30. Flat 30. There you go. 143. So 147 final approach speed. And we'll just do a standard OLS in. And I'll hand flight from a bit further out and just see how it handles. Right, so let's turn to 125. And there's some of the X-plane isms. It adds in its own weather on the wing and stuff. It's really nice. You don't need to pay for an immersion pack with X-plane. It's all included, and it's following that quite nicely. Like I said, the new VNAV has been implemented. It works fine. Nothing really to complain about. There are a couple of bugs with the aircraft because it's still in beta, but nothing major. You can happily fly this from A to B without a problem. Let's have a look at the weather. So it's 1016. Calm winds. Nothing too major. Got to turn the seatbelt signs on. So I'll pop them on there. And we'll fly parallel to the runway. That's quite nice. It's a nice sea in front of us. 777. I'm glad to have it in the X-plane actually. It's a nice addition. I'll give my final thoughts when we're on the ground. And we'll turn to 090. I'll start descending now to 5,500 feet per minute. And a bit of speed brake out as well. Oh, no, not that. Thousand feet per minute now. We'll just start slowing down. I did an RNAV in this the other day with the new VNAV and it worked fine. So there's nothing really to worry about with it really. You can do sort of all procedures and all manner of arrivals now and departures, and it does handle them quite well. And the VNAV, I've just noticed, I think it's X-plane weather, but it sort of rocks forward sometimes, so I pop in vertical speed sometimes just to smoothen it out. But if there's quite a few restrictions down on the arrival, like we did a flight into JFK, and there was a couple of restrictions en route in the descent, and it wouldn't dive for them, but it would start rocking a little bit to try and catch them. But I think that's to do with the weather, because every aircraft does it.
Set. Landing data. Set. Approach briefing. Completed. Completed.
There you go.
Checklist
So there's the
complete.
interactive checklist done. And when they announced it and showed that the voices were just text to speech, I was a bit not pleased with it. But actually, when it's put into practice, it's actually quite nice, where they speak and tell you exactly what you've just done. There's some nice immersion on the wing there, some vortexes. Right, so let's start thinking about getting this down a bit more. So flat one. Go down to the flat one speed. And then the slats coming out. I do like the 200 ER, it's probably my favourite 777 version, or variant, sorry. I just think it looks really nice. It'd be interesting to see if they add the Rolls-Royce engines and the Pratt & Whitney engines as well. I think that would be really good if they added those two. I'm sure they will eventually, hopefully. Just making sure that the weather is correct. So I've got real weather on. So it just injects it from the internet. Oh! How do I close this now? There you go. And there's London. True Earth, South by Orbex is the scenery, and the airport for Heathrow is the Aviation-SIM, or the one on the Unibuild store, I want to say. And we'll go to a heading 352. Try and go direct to the waypoint here. No, I'll clear that. Right, double click and execute LNAV. And we'll see what it does now. And we'll stow the speed brake now. Get about flat 5, slow down to the flat 5 speed. So it's doing it okay actually. There you go, looks quite nice. I would say the performance in X-Band has actually improved as well. I know there's a couple of stutters when I swap views a lot, but once you're in that view, it's quite smooth. And I get a hard 35 FPS, which is nice. So let's see if the auto ILSs come on. I can't see any guidance at the moment. Let's go to the rad nav. Nothing in there at the moment, hopefully. Oh, what's it doing now? Ah, so the LNAV's got a bit funny. I'm assuming that's a bug group. Like I said, it might be something to do with the fact that we've loaded up with engines started and a flight plan inserted already. That probably hasn't helped. So we'll go back onto heading select 350, and I think we might go direct to the other waypoint. There you go. Go LNAV again. Or just, actually, let me just double click that, make sure. Right, LNAV. Yeah, that must have been to do with the fact that we've loaded up. Like I said, it's beta, so there is a couple of bugs, but it's more than flyable. I'll go down to 2500, match up the courses, so 269 is the final approach, heading for runway 27 left. Still can't see any guidance for the ILSs yet. I'll give it a second. Yes, it's not letting me activate approach. Try again. Nope. Nothing. Okay, so let me go into the RadNav page. ILS, click that. Is that inserted? Ah, there you go. Easy as that. So now we'll click approach. Or we'll leave it for a second actually, just make sure the aircraft is following that. slow that down. There you go, we're down to 2,000. Don't need to level off. Approach mode. Localizer captured. Glide slope captured. Fuck 15. On a speed brake. Nicely lined up now. Gear down. And we'll watch that all come down. Nice smooth animation as well. I don't know whether it's because it's the 200 and I'm used to flying the 300 ER on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it does have a very shallow nose profile. The 777-300 has a quite high nose profile. I find it flies at about 1 to 2 degrees higher. What I find in X-plane, especially in the 200ER, let's go to flight 25, you'll see that it's bang on 0 degrees all the way down, and that's following the guidance. So I don't know whether that's just because of the wind, or it might be like that in real life, but I've never flown the 777, so it's hard to tell, but it flies fine. So look, as you can see, to keep on glide, it's, I'd probably say -1 degree, nose down attitude. I'll take control, keep yours throttling. It's my aeroplane. There was no autopilot disconnect noise then though, that was a bit strange. So keep hand flying it. And it's quite responsive actually. It feels nice to fly. The winds are calm today, so there's not much to mess around with. And there's RAS, which is built in as well. Works at most airports. I've had a couple of problems with it, saying I'm landing on a taxiway when I'm not, but it does work 99% of the time. Right, keep on that glide. The aircraft's dealing with it quite nicely now actually. And I find it's a lot different in the landing stage, the sort of flare and stuff, than the Microsoft Flight Simulator 777 by PMDG. It feels heavy in X-plane. It's the flight model, but yeah, it takes a lot more
300
to reset. It feels heavy and it comes down like a brick when you reduce the thrust. So 2 red, 2 white bang on at the moment. All looking good.
100 minimums.
Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Cut the thrust. 10. Hold it there. There we are. Speed brakes up. Reverse green to yourself. On the centre line. There's the auto brake kicking in. And down we are. That was alright. See what I mean about the it doesn't float as much as the one here in Microsoft. It comes down quite hard. Manual braking. We'll take this exit here and just park at the nearest stand. Yeah, so that actually felt really nice to fly. I hadn't flew it for quite a while then, and didn't feel like I was wrestling it. I find in Microsoft Flight Simulator I always feel like I'm wrestling the aircraft even in calm conditions, but in X-plane, pitch and power seems to do the job. So we'll just pull off here and we'll take one of the remote stands just in front of us when we turn here. I was going to take it down to T5, but we'll just park it on one of the remote stands. Get the APU on and get the lights off. Lovely. And we'll just take this stand here on the left by the this building. and there is no guidance. I'll have to go outside and have a look. And that'll do there. Engine number 1 can come off, the APU's on, so we can go engine number 2 off now. And welcome down to London. That wasn't too bad, was it? So, what are my final thoughts on the Flight Factor 777? Well, I think it's a brilliant addition to X-Plane, and I do think it's worth adding to your virtual hangar. My only problem with the Flight Factor is that they've released it after 10 years to us as a full-priced beta. And I don't know why, but it just makes me feel like the release is rushed, and they had a bit of pressure to release it. And after 10 years, I would have liked them to wait a bit longer and release it in full. However, with all that said, I really enjoyed this aircraft and would absolutely 100% recommend it to you. If you have enjoyed today's more in-depth video, please like and subscribe. Thank you all for the support recently, I really do appreciate it. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.